Hello friends, I welcome you in lecture number 6 on complex functions. In previous lectures we have seen how to use Cauchy-Riemann equations to check differentiability of a complex function. So if we recall that Cauchy-Riemann equations are del u by del x equal to del v by del y and del u by del y is minus del v by del x. So here x and y are called Cartesian coordinates, but sometimes if we are using polar coordinates instead of Cartesian coordinates, then we may have some comfortable method or easy method if we are using polar coordinates instead of Cartesian coordinates. For example, if I want to check differentiability of a complex function f of z equal to 1 upon z raised to 8, then if I am using Cartesian form, then I will put z equal to x plus iy. So I have to take 8 time multiplication of x plus iy with itself. So if we have this type of functions, then it is better to use polar form of the complex number, because if we have polar form, then using De Moivre's formula we can easily find out the power of the complex number. So whenever we have this type of functions, it is better that we use polar form of the complex number. Now if we are using polar form of the complex number z equal to r into cos theta plus I sin theta, then we know that for z equal to 0, polar form is undefined, because for z equal to 0 argument theta is undefined. So whenever we are using polar form, we will take non-zero complex numbers. At z equal to 0 we have to check separately for differentiability. So if we put z equal to r into cos theta plus I sin theta, then our function f of z will be u plus iv, where u and v will be functions of r and theta. If we put z equal to x plus iy, then u and v will be functions of x and y. So in that case we can use Cauchy-Riemann equations in Cartesian coordinates x and y. But suppose we are using polar form of the complex number, then this u and v will be functions of r and theta. So we have to write down equivalent form of Cauchy-Riemann equations in terms of r and theta. So that is easy. It is similar to this. If we are using Cartesian coordinates x and y, then the first Cauchy-Riemann equation is del u by del x equal to del v by del y. So if we are using r and theta, then you can imagine equivalent form. If I am using del u by del r, then you can compare with this equation. If I am writing del u by del x here, then here I am writing partial derivative of v with respect to another variable, that is y. So same thing here. If I write partial derivative of u with respect to r, then here I will write partial derivative of v with respect to theta. Similarly, if I consider partial derivative of u with respect to theta, then on right hand side I will consider partial derivative of v with respect to r. So it is similar to this. For remembering, you can remember in this way. So del u by del x is del v by del y. Instead of x and y, I am putting r and theta. Similarly, del u by del theta is minus del v by del x. So here I have to write minus. So instead of y and x, I am writing theta and r. But the only change is here the right hand side is multiplied with 1 by r, and here the right hand side is multiplied with small r. So these are the Cauchy-Riemann equations in polar form. And of course z is non-zero complex number, and we know that r is nothing but modulus of z, and since z is non-zero, mod z is always positive. So value of r is always positive. So there is no problem if we are considering 1 by r. So if our function is f of z equal to u plus iv, where u and v are functions of r and theta, then the conditions for differentiability are, suppose f of z is u plus iv, where u and v are functions of r and theta, and z is r into cos theta plus I sin theta is a non-zero complex number. Then under which conditions this function is differentiable? So conditions are same as in terms of Cartesian coordinates. In Cartesian coordinates, the conditions for differentiability was, first condition was these partial derivatives exist, and the second condition was these partial derivatives are continuous and they satisfy Cauchy-Riemann equations. So same conditions are here in terms of r and theta. So first condition is the first order partial derivatives del u by del r, del u by del theta, del v by del r, del v by del theta exist everywhere in the neighborhood of given point. Second condition is these partial derivatives are continuous. This is important. Continuous at point z equal to order pair r theta, and they satisfy the Cauchy-Riemann equations. Just we have written Cauchy-Riemann equations. Del u by del r equal to 1 by r into del v by del theta, and del u by del theta is minus r into del v by del r. So if these two conditions are satisfied, then the function f of z is differentiable at point z equal to r theta, and the formula for derivative is f dash z at non-zero point z equal to e raised to minus I theta del u by del r at point r theta plus I into del v by del r at point r theta. This is also similar to the formula in Cartesian form. If f of z is u plus iv, where u and v are functions of x and y, then in that case the formula for derivative was del u by del x plus I into del v by del x. So here instead of x we have to consider partial derivatives with respect to r, and this is extra term multiplied e raised to minus I theta. So in this way we can use Cauchy-Riemann equations in polar form to check differentiability of a complex function. So we have to remember these Cauchy-Riemann equations in polar form. They are del u by del r equal to 1 by r del v by del theta. So if I am considering partial derivative with respect to r here I am considering with respect to theta, and if I consider with respect to theta, here I consider with respect to r. Here right hand side is multiplied with 1 by r, here right hand side is multiplied with minus r. So in this way you can remember the CR equations in polar form. Also remember the formula for derivative of a complex function in terms of polar coordinates. So derivative is e raised to minus I theta del u by del r plus I into del v by del r at a point r theta where function is differentiable. So we consider one or two examples. So example number 9, determine the points at which Cauchy-Riemann equations are satisfied for the function f of z equal to z upon z bar. So this function is undefined at z equal to 0. If you put z equal to 0, then it is 0 by 0, which is undefined. So we don't have to check anything at z equal to 0. Function is undefined at z equal to 0. So we start by taking z equal to r into cos theta plus I sin theta, where z is non-zero complex number. So we have to substitute value of z here. So what we are doing, we are trying to write our function in this form. Some function of r theta plus I into some another function of r theta. So we are trying to write our function in this form. So here we start by taking z equal to r into cos theta plus I sin theta, where z is non-zero complex number. So if we put value of z here, it is r into cos theta plus I sin theta, and conjugate of this z is conjugate of r into conjugate of this. Conjugate of z is nothing but conjugate of this. Now this is equal to conjugate of r into conjugate of cos theta plus I sin theta. Now r is positive real number, it is modulus of z. So conjugate of r is r itself, because it is positive real number, and conjugate of cos theta plus I sin theta is cos theta minus I sin theta. So let me remove this. Again, this part is not in this form. So what we will do, we will multiply by conjugate of this cos theta minus I sin theta. So conjugate of cos theta minus I sin theta is cos theta plus I sin theta. So we multiply numerator and denominator by cos theta plus I sin theta, and r is positive real number, so we can cancel out r. Here we have to mention r is cancelled out because r is positive, so it is non-zero, so we can cancel out r. And if we multiply this by cos theta plus I sin theta, it is cos theta plus I sin theta square, and here cos theta minus I sin theta into cos theta plus I sin theta, so that is going to be cos square theta minus I square sin square theta. And if we use I square equal to minus 1, we will obtain cos square theta plus sin square theta, and this is going to be 1, and this we expand using the formula of square of a plus b. So it is cos square theta plus 2 sin theta cos theta into I plus I square sin square theta, and if we put I square equal to minus 1, we have cos square theta minus sin square theta plus I into, and we write 2 sin theta cos theta equal to sin 2 theta, and also we know that this is nothing but cos 2 theta. So if we compare with u plus iv, u is cos 2 theta and v is sin 2 theta. Okay, so first we have written our function in this form: some function of r theta plus I into some another function of r theta. So it is cos 2 theta plus I into sin 2 theta, and if we compare this with u plus iv, suppose this is equal to u plus iv, say, then u is cos 2 theta and v is sin 2 theta. Now we have to check Cauchy-Riemann equations are satisfied at which points. So for that we have to find out partial derivatives of u and v with respect to r. So del u by del r is, here there is no term which contain r, so cos 2 theta is constant while we are differentiating with respect to r. So del u by del r is 0. Del u by del theta is derivative of cos 2 theta is minus sin 2 theta into derivative of 2 theta, which is 2. So del u by del theta is minus 2 sin 2 theta. Here also there is no term which contains small r, so del v by del r is 0, and del v by del theta is derivative of sin 2 theta is cos 2 theta, and derivative of 2 theta is 2. Now we have to check at which points these two functions are equal. So we are going in reverse way. Suppose these two are equal. So these two are equal if del u by del r means 0 equal to 1 by r into del v by del theta. So we multiply this by 1 by r. So 1 by r into del v by del theta is 2 by r into cos 2 theta. So now this 2 by r is always positive because r is greater than 0. So we can cancel out this 2 by r. So this is possible if cos 2 theta is 0. That means this equation is satisfied at all those points z equal to r theta, for which this argument theta satisfies this equation, cos 2 theta equal to 0, and cos 2 theta equal to 0 is true if 2 theta is multiple of pi by 2, odd multiple of pi by 2. If 2 theta is odd multiple of pi by 2, that we can denote by 2n plus 1 into pi by 2, then cos 2 theta is 0. So this equation is satisfied if 2 theta is odd multiple of pi by 2. And if we take this 2 on right hand side, we can say that this is satisfied if theta is odd multiple of pi by 4, where n is any integer. So what we can say is, suppose I have this xy plane, then if I take n equal to 0 here, in this theta equal to 2n plus 1 pi by 4, if I take n equal to 0, I will obtain theta equal to pi by 4. That means this equation is satisfied at all those complex numbers whose argument is pi by 4. If I take n equal to 0, I obtain this equation is satisfied if theta equal to pi by 4. So this equation is satisfied if theta is pi by 4. That means it is satisfied at all the complex numbers on the line theta equal to pi by 4. So we sketch, this is rough sketch just to give the idea on which part this equation is satisfied. So suppose this angle is pi by 4, then we can say that this is the line theta equal to pi by 4. So if I consider any complex number, I have to consider only this portion, the portion in the first quadrant. Just a minute. If I consider this ray starting from origin, then if we consider any complex number in first quadrant whose vector makes the angle pi by 4 with positive x-axis, then if I consider any complex number on this ray theta equal to pi by 4, then its argument is pi by 4. So this equation is satisfied at all the points on the line theta equal to pi by 4, or on the ray theta equal to pi by 4. Now suppose I consider theta equal to n equal to minus 1, then I will obtain theta equal to minus pi by 4. So it is nothing but this line. Suppose this angle is pi by 4, then this ray is nothing but theta equal to minus pi by 4. Now suppose we consider theta equal to 2, then we will obtain 2 into 2, 4 plus 1, theta equal to 5 pi by 4. For n equal to 2, we will obtain theta equal to 5 pi by 4, and 5 pi by 4 can be written as pi plus pi by 4, means this angle is pi and this angle is pi by 4. If we extend this, it is symmetrical to this. Then we can say that this angle is 5 pi by 4. So if I consider any point on this part, on this ray, then its argument is 5 pi by 4. That means this equation is satisfied at all the points on this ray. Similarly, if I consider theta n equal to say minus, or if I consider n equal to 3, then I will obtain 7 pi by 4. If I take n equal to 3, I obtain 7 pi by 4. So 7 pi by 4 means 2 pi minus pi by 4. 2 pi minus pi by 4. 7 pi by 4 can be written as 2 pi minus pi by 4. So 2 pi minus pi by 4 means this is pi by 4 and whole circle is 2 pi. So if we measure anti-clockwise, then it is this one. So either we write theta equal to minus pi by 4 or theta equal to 7 pi by 4. We are getting the same ray. Similarly, suppose we consider n equal to minus 1. For n equal to minus 1, we will obtain theta equal to minus pi by 4. That is fine. And if I consider n equal to 3, then I will obtain 7 pi by 4. If I consider n equal to 4, then I will obtain 9 pi by 4. And what is 9 pi by 4? This I can write as 8 pi plus pi divided by pi by 4. So 9 pi by 4 is nothing but 2 pi plus pi by 4. Okay, so that means we are on this ray. Theta equal to pi by 4 or theta equal to 9 pi by 4 are same thing. Now for which value of theta I will obtain this, for which value of n I will obtain this part. This is nothing but pi minus pi by 4. Okay, this part is pi by 4 and whole angle is pi. So it is pi minus pi by 4, that is 3 pi by 4. So for which value of n the angle is 3 pi by 4. So we can compare in this way also. Suppose I want to obtain 3 pi by 4, then I can determine for which value of n it is 3 pi by 4. So if we compare these two, 2n plus 1 into pi by 4, then we can say that 2n plus 1 is 3. So 2n is 3 minus 1, that is 2. So for n equal to 1, we will obtain 3 pi by 4. So this is also there. For n equal to 1, we obtain theta equal to 3 pi by 4, which is this. And for each integer, for each remaining integer, we can say that our complex number is either on this line or on this line. There are only two possibilities. So first Cauchy-Riemann equation is satisfied at all the points on these two lines. This is theta equal to pi by 4 and this is theta equal to minus pi by 4. And also keep in mind, at theta equal to 0 we have no information, because we can use Cauchy-Riemann equations for non-zero complex number only. So at z equal to 0 we don't have any information. We are checking for non-zero complex numbers. If we want to check at z equal to 0, then function is undefined at z equal to 0, so it is not necessary to check at z equal to 0. and if we wish we can check by definition at z equal to 0 by definition of partial derivatives. So del u by del r equal to 1 by r into del v by del theta. This equation is satisfied if theta is odd multiple of pi by 4, and by taking different values of n we observe that this first equation is satisfied at all the points on the line theta equal to pi by 4 and theta equal to minus pi by 4 or 3 pi by 4. So the del u by del r equal to 1 by r into del u by del theta is satisfied at all the points except 0 on these two lines. Now we check for second equation when these two are equal. So after substituting their values, del u by del theta is minus 2 sin theta, minus 2 sin 2 theta, and del v by del r is 0. So if we substitute these values, this is minus 2 sin 2 theta is 0. So this is true if sin 2 theta is 0, and sin 2 theta is 0 if 2 theta is multiple of pi for any integer. That means if theta is multiple of pi by 2, then this equation is satisfied, and we cannot take n equal to 0, so it is n belongs to z minus 0. For n equal to 0 we obtain theta equal to 0. That is also fine. Theta equal to 0 means it is allowed. So I remove this part. If n is 0, theta equal to 0 means we are on positive x-axis. Now we check for second equation. So second equation is satisfied if theta is multiple of pi by 2. So if I take n equal to 0, I will obtain theta equal to 0. So theta equal to 0 means we are on positive x-axis. At 0 it is undefined. So if you consider this portion, then this represents theta equal to 0. So this equation, second equation, is satisfied at all the points on positive x-axis. If our point is on positive x-axis, its argument is 0. Now if I take n equal to 1, I obtain theta equal to pi by 2. So again this equation is satisfied at every point on positive y-axis. If I take n equal to 3, I obtain theta equal to 3 pi by 2. And if I take n equal to minus 1, I obtain theta equal to minus pi by 2. But in both the cases, I obtain this part of the complex plane, negative y-axis. Similarly, if I take n equal to 2, I obtain this part, theta equal to pi. And at z equal to 0, function is undefined. So this second equation is satisfied if theta, that is argument of z, is multiple of pi by 2. And first equation is satisfied if argument of theta is multiple of pi by 4. And at 0 they are not satisfied, or we don't want to check at z equal to 0. At z equal to 0 we can use by the definition of partial derivatives also. But function is undefined at z equal to 0. So we are not worried about z equal to 0. So now we can observe that this equation del u by del r equal to 1 by r into del v by del theta is satisfied at all the points on these two lines, theta equal to pi by 4 and theta equal to minus pi by 4, except 0. And this equation del u by del theta equal to minus r del v by del r is satisfied if theta is multiple of pi by 2. That means on this positive x-axis, positive y-axis, negative x-axis and negative y-axis. So there is no common point at which both Cauchy-Riemann equations are satisfied. Okay, we don't have any common point at which both equations are satisfied. This is satisfied if theta is multiple of pi by 4. That means if theta is on any of these two lines, and this is satisfied if theta is any of on these two lines, and we are not taking z equal to 0. So therefore there is no common point at which both Cauchy-Riemann equations are satisfied. So this is an interesting example. We have to find out the points at which CR equations are satisfied. So the conclusion is there is no point at which Cauchy-Riemann equations are satisfied. Now we consider another example. F of z equal to 1 by z, and we have to decide whether f dash z exists or not. If f dash z exists, then we have to determine value of derivative also. So here also it is better to use polar form because we have 1 by z, and function is undefined at z equal to 0. So function is not differentiable at z equal to 0. For differentiability at a point, function must be defined at that point. So at z equal to 0, this function is undefined, therefore function is not differentiable at z equal to 0. So we have to start by taking z equal to r into cos theta plus I sin theta, where z is non-zero complex number. So f of z is 1 by z, and we put the value of z here. Again we have to multiply by conjugate of cos theta plus I sin theta, that is cos theta minus I sin theta, and this is going to be cos square theta plus sin square theta. So after simplification it is cos theta by r minus I into sin theta by r, because cos square theta plus sin square theta, this is going to be 1, and if we compare this with u plus iv, then we obtain u equal to cos theta by r and v equal to minus sin theta divided by r. In the next step we have to calculate partial derivatives. So if I want to differentiate this with respect to r, I will consider cos theta is constant and derivative of 1 by r is minus 1 by r square. Similarly, if I want to differentiate with respect to theta, then I will consider 1 by r constant and derivative of cos theta is minus sin theta. Similarly, derivative of v with respect to r, so minus sin theta is constant and the derivative of 1 by r is minus 1 by r square, so minus minus will get positive, and del v by del theta is minus 1 by r constant, derivative of sin theta is cos theta. Now what we have to check? We have to check whether CR equations are satisfied or not. So we have to check these two. Del u by del r equal to 1 by r into del u by del theta. So del u by del r is already there, minus cos theta by r square, and we have to multiply del v by del theta by 1 by r in 1 by r. So from this we can see 1 by r into v theta will be minus cos theta upon r square. So this first equation is satisfied at every non-zero point. Second equation is del u by del theta is minus r into del v by del r. So if we multiply del v by del r by minus r, then we will have del u by del theta minus sin theta upon r. So this shows that CR equations are satisfied at every non-zero point. This is important. You have to mention at which points Cauchy-Riemann equations are satisfied. So therefore Cauchy-Riemann equations are satisfied at every non-zero complex number. Also we have to check continuity of these partial derivatives. So all are trigonometric and polynomial functions, and because r is non-negative, r is positive, these functions are continuous at every non-zero complex number. Del u by del r, del u by del theta, del v by del r and del v by del theta are continuous at every z non-zero. So therefore f dash z exists at every z not equal to 0. Our function is differentiable at every non-zero point, and if it is differentiable we can find out its derivative. So remember this formula we just discussed. Derivative in terms of polar coordinates is e raised to minus I theta into del u by del r plus I into del v by del r. So first we keep this as it is. Del u by del r is minus cos theta upon r square and del v by del r is sin theta upon r square. So in the next step we can take minus 1 by r square outside and we replace e raised to minus I theta by cos theta minus I sin theta. We are using Euler's formula. If we have e raised to I theta, then Euler's formula is cos theta plus I sin theta, and if we replace theta by minus theta, we will obtain e raised to minus I theta equal to cos theta minus I sin theta. Here minus 1 by r square can be taken outside, so here we will have cos theta minus I sin theta, and if we multiply these two we have square of cos theta minus I sin theta divided by r square, and this we can rewrite as cos theta minus I sin theta is nothing but 1 upon cos theta plus I sin theta. So cos theta minus I sin theta is replaced by 1 upon cos theta plus I sin theta, and this we can rewrite as 1 upon r into cos theta plus I sin theta square, and we know that this is nothing but complex number z, so we replace it by z square where z is non-zero. So what we have shown, the function 1 by z is differentiable at every non-zero point and its derivative is minus 1 by z square at every non-zero point. Okay, f dash z exists at every non-zero point and derivative is minus 1 by z square. So we can have this type of examples. Be careful whenever we have this type of functions, say I upon z raised to 4, then it is better to use Cauchy-Riemann equations in polar form. If you are using CR equations in polar form, then it will be comfortable. Otherwise you can go with Cartesian coordinates also by taking z equal to x plus iy, but we will consider z equal to r into cos theta plus I sin theta, and then we can use CR equations in polar form to check differentiability of a given complex function. So students, I hope you like this lecture. Please write your feedback in the comment section and also share this channel to engineering students. Thank you very much.